It says I'm live. I'm live. Well, hello. Welcome to the Saturday Softpot Club. I think it's the 3rd of November and we're into the dark time. Time for lights and fires. And it's slightly witchy too, isn't it? We're still in that sort of phase. So yes, I'm Annie Austin Meek. But actually, everybody knows me as Annie Softpot because I invented softpots over 10 years ago and I've never stopped making them or talking about them ever since because it's the best fun you can have. Now, what is a softpot? Well, a softpot, my definition of a softpot, is a handmade fabric plant pot suitable for any plant, indoors or out. Now, this is a little hanger that I made and this is just a little plant in there, and as you can see all sorts of different patterns. They're beautiful, aren't they? That's actually an ammonite that I brought back from Scarborough and I involved it in a soft pot and it's one of my favourites. And soft pots are plant pots with personality. You can paint them, you can decorate them, you can leave them plain and they'll grow their own moss. And best of all, they're better for the plants because the roots grow normally with a soft pot, you know. Yep, you don't get root spiralling. And I mean, you get root spiralling with every other sort of container in, for plants, don't you? Plastic, terracotta. With soft pots, they're kind to plants. Oh, yes, indeed. The roots can grow normally, they can breathe, they're protected from the elements, they can absorb the ground and the rainwater, and it's very, very easy to pot them on without disturbing the roots. I mean, I show you, all of these are really quite small soft pots and they're beautiful presents to give, but you can make really big soft pots. I've grown potatoes, carrots on my washing line. I mean, it's a complete liberation for container planting. Whoop, there we go. Right, let me just move on from that one. And soft pots, they take all sorts of wonderful forms. Look at this. Actually, this is the one that I made last week and I stuffed a few skeletons in it. And actually, it's all very well stuffing skeletons in at Halloween, but you don't always want a plant pot that's got skeletons in it all year round. So I just took out the skeletons and remade my soft pot. And here is my aloe from last week. And it's got a nice stretchy neck there supporting it. And, soft pots wear jewellery, feathers, beads, shells, sweet wrappers, you name it. It's a completely new dimension in container gardening, the soft pots. It really is. And they are beautiful. Look at that. And you can make them to match anybody's decor, anybody's eye colour. And if you change the decor in your room, it's really easy to just change the dress of the soft pot to match. And if you want to make it a little bit spooky, you can stick things on and, that'll do for me for spookiness, I think. Yes. Right, moving on. And I mean, the lovely thing is you can paint soft pots. This is a painted one that I did. And the lovely thing is, is that soft pots are plants with personality. Apart from the fact that they're better for the plant, we can have so much fun making them, and they use all sorts of recycled materials. And when you make them, there's just so much pleasure. It's hard to describe, but one of the reasons that I do this show, why does the light keep going? I don't know if that does anything. Don't know, what's that? No, I'm just going to leave it on its own. I'm not quite sure what I'm doing there. Right, yeah, let's continue. And they can be really, really big. Really big. I've got trees outside. I can grow fruit. I can grow shrubs. Basically, the only limit, really, when it comes to the size of soft pot you can make is what you can lift up. What you can comfortably lift up, because soft pots travel very, very well indeed. And if you live in a house that you're renting, you can take your whole garden with you, and it's beautiful. Soft pots make a completely different sort of garden than any normal sort of garden that you'd have, and they go all year round. There we go. This is an interesting one. I always pull out this old chestnut. This is a soft pot, and it's got a little lithops in it. And what it is actually, it's talking about how soft pots, you know, it just changes your world. I found myself looking at that bracelet, thinking, why am I looking at that bracelet? And then I realised I had my soft pot eyes in. And what I did was I made a tiny little soft pot and put a ring on it. And I made the collar really knobbly bobbly. And then just dropped it into there. And there you are. You have a totally unique, absolutely beautiful soft pot. And you know, this has been with me for many years now. And soft pots do, they last. They last. Plants in soft pots last a long time. And, oh, it's not what you can put into a soft pot either. Sometimes it's what you can put a soft pot into. I found myself staring at this dragon in a second-hand shop. And I thought, what am I staring at this dragon for? What do I want with that? And then, again, I realised I had my soft pot eyes in. And so I bought it, and I made this little soft pot here. There we go. See? It's very, very happy it's flowering. And I found that when I popped it into there, it just made the whole thing make sense. And as you can see, you know, it's just wonderful. It's not just what you can put in a soft pot, it's what you can put a soft pot into too. Right, just going to pop that over there, da 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 da. And this is an interesting one. This is that witchy one that I was doing. I brought this in, I think last week on the Facebook version. But here you can see again, I've put in all sorts of, you know, sort of witchy sort of things. And there we have a nice decorative cabbage. I do love these cabbages. And that's your soft pot. See? Da 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 da. Yep. And that's just beautiful, isn't it? Absolutely beautiful. And the thing is, you get attached to them, you know. When you make them, something happens. It's a welding of the earth, the plant, your own creative spirit. And by the time you've finished, you just love your creation. And the thing is, I mean, you can't kiss a plastic or a terracotta pot. But when you've made your soft pot, you'll find that, ooh, it's gone dark again. You'll find that it's absolutely, absolutely the most wonderful liberation. Right, because you never know what you're going to do until you've done it. There we go. So I'll pop that one aside. And, oh, this is one that I made. This is one that I made for Halloween. And it's got that black scrubby stuff that you can get at Halloween time. And I just dressed the pot in that. And I can take it off when it's finished. And there we go, you see. And what I did was I put a tea light in there, so at night it glowed up through the lanterns. Nice, eh? Yep, that was quite spooky. Like that, like that. Oh, and this one, I brought this in last week, but I still absolutely love it. And again, you know, when you display soft pots, you don't have to put them in a big dishy thing or anything. They're really well behaved and very easy to water, and they hold their water and release it slowly because of the secret ingredient inside, soft pot gold. Right, here, see this? This is just beautiful. I mean, this was just a bit of junk that I found. What am I looking at that for? Ha ha, soft pot eyes. And it just sits on there just beautifully. And this little plant here has been in this soft pot all summer, and it's done very, very well. And the soft pot itself, it sort of matches the colours in the plant. And it's a bit like wearing a blue jumper when you've got blue eyes. It just enhances the colours. So, here we go. Why does it keep going dark? Maybe it's only going dark on my side. I don't know. I can't see anything that makes it stay light. Anyway, I'll just have to keep touching that. And this one, this old chestnut. I used to have a shop in York on Stonegate called the Softpot Garden, and this was one of the first things I brought in. And again, I was looking at that clock, thinking, what am I looking at a piece of junk like that for? But then I got it home, made it into a soft pot, and incorporated it into a soft pot. And this is, what, 6 years old, almost 6 years old now. Still going, still very, very beautiful. Can you see? And the little bird, I just popped the little bird thing on the front there because it's sweet. But there, that's another soft pot. And again, as I said, you know, soft pots are very, very kind to plants. So as a consequence of that, you've got them for a long, long time. Now, what else did I bring in? Da, 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 da. Oh, that one. Yeah, that one's interesting. Of course, it being witchy time. Now that is actually a mask, and I've put it in a frame, and you can see it's got the spiders and things in it. And I put a light in there as well. And so at night, the face lights up. Now, all right, it's not quite a soft pot, but you can have just so much fun with these sort of things, you know. It just liberates the imagination. In fact, the only limit is your imagination, really, with a soft pot. Now, this one's a bit more conventional. Oop, touch that again. Bit more conventional. Here we are. That just hangs on the wall. I call it a glom, because they just sort of glom onto the wall, flat, like that. It's one form. There are many forms of glom. But that's just a pretty little job, isn't it? And it's got a time in there. I do like time. I often find myself making soft pots with watches in them and things like that, and time plants. Time is the one thing, is our most valuable commodity, isn't it? Yes. There we go. See? Pretty, 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 pretty. Right. What else have I got? Oh, when it comes to bulbs, I just thought I'd show you one of my bulb bombs. I've got some bulbs in here, flower bulbs, and this is what I call a bulb bomb, because as they grow, what they'll do is they'll poke through, and then you just nick the stocking, tap, 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 and the bulbs will grow through, and you finish up with a little pyramid of all these plants popping up, and it's really, really pretty. And of course, you know, you can carry it. I mean, soft pots are very, very portable. I mean, it's amazing, actually, how strong nylons and tights are. It takes years and years before they break down, but when they do break down, they go into holes, and so you can see it coming long, long before the whole thing breaks. And of course, they get so flexible. Right, now, this is, you know, I suppose this is a bigger one. I've had this one for ages. Ooh. There we go. Had this one for ages. I don't know whether you can see. It's got a nice big wide collar. It's very glittery. And I think I did this over a year ago on one of the other soft pot courses that I did. I mean, if you live locally, if you're anywhere near, I'm here in Harrogate, but there is actually a soft pot garden at Henshaw's in Knaresborough, and it's a wonderful place to go. Henshaw's is right opposite Mother Shipton's, and it's just lovely, lovely down by the river, and they've got a cafe. It's very, very nice indeed. And the soft pot garden's there. You can go along, have a look at it, see the different styles and forms, and one of them's there, give it a squeeze. Because the thing is that you can see soft pots, but it's only when you start to feel them or make them that you really, really get what is so special about them. There's something sacred about a soft pot, if you ask me. Now, how do you make a soft pot then? Well, here we go. Now, can you see? I'm going to, hope it doesn't go dark again. This is an issue, I think maybe with YouTube. How do you stop it going, the screen going dark? Because I need to see the screen, you see. Right, I've got a little plant here, just a teeny weeny one. It is an indoor one, and it's a crassula. But it's sort of got, it's really quite interesting. But you can take a little plant like this and make it into something really, really special. And something that will be hard to part with, but when you give it as a gift, it's absolutely wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. Now, I don't know if anybody's going to be able to join me on this broadcast. I'm not sure. No, I'm not sure. What does that do? Does that make it brighter? It's done something, I'm not quite sure what. Anyway, here we go. I'm going to make you a soft pot. I'm going to show you how to make a soft pot. And the wonderful thing about making soft pots is it all starts with a leg of stocking or tights. Ideally, what you want is the sheerest, shiniest, glossiest stockings or tights you can get your hands on. Ideally used. If you collect people's stockings, you'll get generally very thin stockings. If you ask for tights, you might finish up with getting people giving you 60 denier. Don't go for those. If you want really, really pretty soft pots, what you have to do is get 10 denier. 10 denier, 15 denier, max. Because otherwise all the glittery stuff, all the shiny stuff, it just doesn't show through. And you have an issue with the density, the thickness of them. Now, if I can just open this up, here we go. Now, when it comes to making soft pots, there's a few things that it's best to have. I do sell kits on, if you go to softpots.com, there are kits there, and they make quite a lot of soft pots. And so by the time you finish, you get really, really good, and it's enough for a soft pot party. And soft pots are fabulous for kids, hen parties, anything like that. So much fun. Right, what I've got here is a bit of gravel, and I'm just going to take some of this here washed gravel and just stick it into the bottom of my stocking there. And then what have I got? Ooh, I've got some pre-mixed compost. And what it is that this compost has actually got, have I got any soft pot gold? Ooh, there. Any sort of compost that's right for the plant will do the job. But if you put compost into a straight leg of stocking, what will happen is that the remit of the stocking is to constrict, and it will just keep on constricting until eventually you can't get water or anything in, and the whole plant and the whole thing will die. What you need is the magical Softpot Gold. Now, Softpot Gold is a natural mineral. It comes from volcanoes and they blow it up like popcorn. And the wonderful thing about that is it stops the compaction. It absorbs the water and nutrients, releases it slowly to the plant. So that's why they do so well. Indoor plants do so well. Actually, all soft pots do so well, as long as they've got Softpot Gold in them. Now, you can order this just on its own from my website. It goes a long way. For every 3 scoops of compost, I'll put 1 scoop of Softpot Gold. That's a standard mix. If it's something that wants to be dry, I'll put less in. Now, in here, I've already got a pre-mix, so I'm just going to use that. And that's 3 scoops of regular compost to 1 of Softpot Gold. Now I have to come back and touch that again. It's still going on. Don't know what to do about that, whether this is working at all. Anyway, hello YouTube. This is Annie Softpot, and I'm making a soft pot. All I'm going to do is just hold that leg of the stocking open. I mean, the ring is just to hold the leg of the stocking open while you're shoveling things into it. If you want to make a collar or anything like that, bangles, bracelets, all sorts of things, much better than that sort of this sort of just plain plastic collar. I use this though again and again just to fill up the stocking the type. Going to do the bounce. Now the bounce is just dropping it on the floor, and by doing that it brings out your inner child. And it should all drop down to the bottom in a nice loose pile, and that's exactly what I want. There we are. I mean, you can, if you want to, just push it down, but it's so much fun doing the bounce. And now I'm doing the donut, going round, and I'm squeezing for any lumps that might be in there. Blimey, this compost is dry. I haven't used it since last week. Nevertheless, it'll all get a bit watered when I'm finished, so it'll be okay. There we go. Gonna take the ring out, done the donut. I'm going around and I'm squishing for lumps, because you don't want lumps in your soft pot. No, it affects the drainage. So then I'm going to take my stocking and I'm going to walk it down. You can use blonde stockings, you can use black stockings, it really doesn't matter. Now, have I gone off again? Yeah? Don't know what to do about that. Right, here we go, here we go. Gonna stretch the neck to give it an idea of what it is I want. Gonna take my plant, come to me, close your eyes, come to me. Just, it's funny, I always find myself singing that song when I'm getting a plant out of the pot. It's the same song that the snake sings when he's hypnotising Mowgli. Took me ages to figure that out, what that song was. There we go. So I'm just popping it on the top of the pot. Now I've got my thumb on its shoulder, and all I'm going to do is lift up the compost and tuck it in. When it gets to this stage, I always tend to think of it as a bit like children. You pop them into bed, and now all you need to do is bring up the blankets and tuck them in. And so I'm just bringing up the compost up to its neck and tucking it in. You don't have to worry too much about the shape at this stage. You're just going to give it a little roll to settle it in. There we are. Now I can take this up over its head, and you might see, oop, I've just pulled it up. That's no good. Just going to bring it up, compost up, just up to its neck. There we are, tucking it in, tucking it in. Now, when I teach many, many different styles and forms. But when I do the Saturday Softpot Club, I always show the first one that I do. And that's always the simple softpot. And the simple softpot's really worth knowing because it doesn't spill. And if you live in a house with dogs, kids, clumsy people, then it's really worth knowing this one. Now, I'm just going to take that strip of tight, cut it again. I've got a stretchy bit of string, going to tie it round there. And just when I get to the point, I think, oh, that's a little bit tight, but I can still get my finger in. That's where I tie the knot. That. And I always chop the end off because I'm neat and tidy. Ha ha. Right, now, this is a stage where we start decorating. And when we come to decorating softpots, the world is your oyster. But there are certain things you must know. Never use natural materials. There's only one exception to that rule. Natural materials will rot between the layers and they go slimy and horrible. Don't do it. Think fairy going to the ball. That's a sort of idea that you're sort of looking for. Yes. And when a fairy goes to the ball, they have a big ball gown, don't they? And what's underneath that ball gown? A petticoat. Now, that's the first thing we put on, a petticoat. And it can be any bit of material, any bit of synthetic material. I personally tend to use organza. I use organza a lot because it's just so nice. It's just a nice petticoat, which is the base colour. So, let's have a look. What's that? Let's have a look at that. I mean, that's a bit of blue there. Let's take a bit of blue. I'm going to cut it down the middle, rip it a little bit. Ooh, it's all gone dark. I don't know whether you can see when it's gone dark like that. I'm going to tie, I mean, let's say it's live. Here we go. I'm just going to wrap that round the base of the plant, and I'm going to just secure that material underneath that tie that I made. The lovely thing, you know, about making soft pots, they're perfect for kids because of the colour grass. All you need really is a blunt pair of scissors and the ability to tie some sort of knot. And that's it, that's it. Right, I've got my petticoat on. Now, if I wanted to, I could add other things as well. I've got bits of glittery stuff here. Ooh, let's have a look. I mean, when you start making soft pots, all of a sudden you do enter this other dimension where everything you're looking at, you think, oh, could I put that in a soft pot? Could I make that into a soft pot? Can I put a soft pot into it? Oh, just so much fun. But you won't know until you do it. The pleasure it brings, something to do with working with the living plant, your own creative spirit. And every single one of them, you know, is always, always different. And you can't compare. You can't compare yours with anybody else's. Ooh, let's have a look at that. These sort of things, oh yes, yes, yes. Scarves with texture. Oh, lovely. That's what you're looking for. I'm going to have some of that on, I think, as well. Scarves, shiny bits, glittery bits. At Christmas, all those shiny bits, get them. Oh, yes, absolutely fabulous. Just dropping that on there. Let's have a look. Now, this is colour grass. This is the... Whoop, it's gone dark again. Now, colour grass, it comes from the carpet industry. And it's the only natural material I can actually use. But you have to be particular about how you use it. It's always got to be on top of other materials. But the wonderful thing about colour grass is, apart from all the fabulous colours that it comes in, it acts as a grip for all the other stuff that you're going to chuck on your soft pot. Now, you don't need a lot. I'm always heavy-handed with colour grass, but you don't need a lot. And you can blend the colours if you want. You can mix and match them just as you like. And I'm just wrapping that round. And there we are. I've got the base of my party dress now. And what else have I got? Oh, it's already got quite a lot of red in it. So there, I'm going to stick there. Now, when it comes to things that you can put on, I personally absolutely adore putting on all sorts of wools, or acrylic wools. I mean, again, stay away from natural wools. But then sometimes, I mean, I've finished up, I didn't know whether it was real or not. And so I put it in, and it was wool. And after about 6 months, the woolly bits sort of went slightly mouldy looking. But I rather liked it. I called it patina. And all I'm doing here is I'm just drooling any sort of ideally acrylic wool that I like, and I'm just drizzling it on in no particular order or fashion. This is why it's so nice for children, you know. Oh, I've gone dark again, can't see a thing. I have to see if I can fix that. And yeah, bits like that. You see that? That's just like a bit of netting-y stuff. But, you know, you can just pop that in between the layers, anything like that, and it'll just hold. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, yes, yes, yes. And you could just keep on going like that. I mean, people often say to me, well, how do you know when it's finished? I would say, when it looks like a fairy going to the ball. Now, I think that looks rather nice, and I'm going to move on to the glittery bits. Now, this is a time to get the glittery bits. Christmas coming up. Yes, yes, yes. Anything like that. Lovely, lovely. Just pop that on. You can go further. You can put, oh, what about... don't know. I was going to say you can put bracelets on as well. I don't know whether that's going to be a good bracelet for that. We shall see, we shall see. Ooh, that's looking interesting. Yes, yes, bracelets, earrings, you can evolve anything you like. Jewellery, necklaces, just drizzle them on, whatever you like. It just goes on. And then, excuse me while I remove my hat for a moment. Let's have a look. Sequins. Oh yes, oh yes. Let's go for it. I've got some red sequins. When in doubt, sequin it out. That's what I say. And ooh, let's put some of those on too. Yeah. Ooh. Just gorgeous gorgeousness. Ooh, and some of those. Yes. The lovely thing is that there's no judgment with Softpot. You really can't go wrong. I mean, people think I'm an artist, but I'm not. When you make a Softpot, it can't help but be beautiful, even if it's got no decoration. I mean, one of the most beautiful Softpots you can make is a naked Softpot, and that's got no decoration whatsoever. Maybe I should do that one day, just show you a naked Softpot. It's just beautiful. Right, does it look like a fairy going to the ball? I would say so. Let's see what happens. I'm going to take this, going to walk my fingers down. I'm going to stretch it over the top there. Sometimes it's hard to remember you've got a plant in there. Ooh, just take that down a little bit carefully. Stretch it out. take it down, over, down to the bottom. When you get to that stage, don't be tempted to shove everything underneath because you don't want to do that. What you do is you pick it up, see there, see its bum, that's the naked bit, grab it, don't let go, and then, excuse me, I'm going to come here and show you, you just take the rest of it and bring it down over your arm, see? And I'm just giving it a nice firm, gentle pull. There, and you can see the bracelet that I put on. There we go. Now, I'm just going to push the rest of this up, below, anything that's hanging below the level of the pot. I just shove up, unceremoniously shove it up. I mean, the thing is, there's no point being myopic with a soft pot, you know. No, no. Because this is where it all changes. And this is where the magic happens in a way. Because once you've pushed all of that up, so, because you want to leave its bum clear, because that's where it's going to take up its moisture. There we go. I mean, you always get something underneath, but try and keep it as clear as possible. And now we're going to do what's called the twizzle. And the twizzle is really for our benefit. The plant itself will probably say, rather not, please. But it's what keeps our plant pot just so beautiful and bright. And I'm just going to turn it upside down. Grab it close to its bum and twizzle it. See? And by twizzling, you're forcing as much tension as you can into that stocking leg, making it as sheer as it's possible for it to be. And boom, there, see? Beautiful, beautiful. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to tie a knot close to its bum. Single knot, nothing fancy. Have to be a little bit careful if they're big plants that you don't knock the head off them. That can be quite an easy thing to do. And then once I've cut the umbilical cord, so to speak, my soft pot is born. And now I can give it any shape that I'd like and it will remember. I can squash it. You can make them round, square. You can flatten them. You can make them teardrop shape. You can make them teardrop shape. Absolutely lovely, aren't they? Now, when it comes to watering, all soft pots generally just water from beneath. Stand them in a bowl of water and feed, and they'll just suck it up like a sponge. And you can tell the difference. They become like friends. You can tell their dry weight and their wet weight just when you pick them up. And you should always feel a little bit of dampness underneath. Yes. Right, so there we are. One happy little soft pot. And with rather an interesting bracelet incorporated. There we go. La 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 la. Now, this is my first YouTube broadcast. I'd appreciate it if you would subscribe, please. I'm trying to make the leap. And just share the love of soft pots. You can order a soft pot kit, you know, from my website, softpots.com. You can always contact me, Annie at Softpots. Go to Henshaw's, see the garden, it's free. And it's very rare, you know, that you ever see anything really new in gardening or craft. Softpots is it, and it brings such pleasure, just such pleasure. Oh, love your soft pot. Well, hopefully next week I'll be here again doing another Saturday Soft Pot Club. And between now and then, I wish you all joy and ease. Thank you very much for joining me, and see you later, I hope. Bye for now. Now, how do you stop it? What's that then? I'm just going to press this then. hopefully that'll be it. Bye for now. Oh, I'm back. How do you stop it? Oh. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yes. End.